Corvette entered Watkins Glen off of the high of a Le Mans victory, but was quickly re-indoctrinated into the no-punches-held world of IMSA racing. And of course, they found themselves locked in a battle with their oldest sparring partner from Detroit. And as the IMSA paddock migrates to upstate New York, Corvette's Tommy Milner and Nicky Katzberg, who was part of that Le Mans winning crew, enter this 6-hour endurance event with the target on their back as they lead the season-long championship with the number 1 BMW and 65 Ford Mustang just behind. The number 3 sister Corvette isn't far off as well, and neither is the number 77 Rexy Porsche back in 5th place. With qualifying underway, the drivers once again put it all on the line as Katzberg uses every inch of road in his yellow Corvette. But it was the fluorescent yellow Lexus of Hawksworth that, for the 3rd time this season, shone in qualifying and claimed pole position. The 77 AO Racing Porsche is just behind with that number 1 BMW in 3rd place. You have to go all the way back to 10th though to find Nicky Katzberg in that number 4 Corvette. So with race day upon us, in the field following the pace car to the green flag, Nicky Katzberg has to dig deep to drag his championship-leading number 4 Corvette through this ultra-competitive field, past rivals like Chris Meese and this number 65 Mustang, if he is to defend his championship lead and avoid a Le Mans hangover. And as he lines up alongside the 62 Ricci Ferrari, it is all eyes on the green flag. Finally it flies and they slam the throttle as they make their way into the tight right-hand turn 1. The Ricci Ferrari has a slight advantage, but Katzberg brakes late around the outside as that Ferrari is stuck behind the Mustang just out front. They make a little contact through turn 1 and Katzberg makes his way past that 62 car as the Corvette and Mustang go side by side out front, as does the 2nd and 3rd place Porsche and BMW, with Meese following closely in tow. Just behind, the Corvette and Mustang continue side by side as Katzberg tries to find a way past his teammate. He moves to the right and nearly on the grass as he makes his way past the number 3 and 64 as well, as he makes his way through the inner loop and closes in on the number 033 Triarci Ferrari in 6th place. We can see that Ferrari twitching through the exit as he looks around the outside of that number 59 McLaren on the exit. But he has the leverage on the inside now through this left-hander. They go side by side through the apex, but the Ferrari has the advantage on the exit and makes his way past. Esterson defends into the toe of the boot, and Katzberg brakes late around the outside of this 59 car. They go 2 by 2 through the exit, but Katzberg has the leverage and the toe from that Ferrari as he makes his way past the 59 car, making it 4 cars past in this opening lap of the race. Certainly, there is no Le Mans hangover for Katzberg, who is now hounding this 033 Ferrari. Just like at Le Mans, this Corvette might not quite have the qualifying pace, but it certainly looks to have the race pace as Katzberg tries to continue his charge through the field. Through the toe of the boot, Katzberg takes a really wide line through the exit as he tries to carry as much speed as possible onto this straight. He is firmly now in the draft of Collado, who has won Le Mans overall in a Ferrari hypercar, as Katzberg has the outside line, but there is just nowhere to go through this slow right-hander as Collado has the inside line once again for this left-hander. The Corvette really seems to have the pace over the Ferrari, but Collado is just able to position his car perfectly to keep Katzberg behind. And through the penultimate corner, that Ferrari driver just extends his gap to this number 4 Corvette. But those of you familiar with IMSA racing here at Watkins Glen, unfortunately it seems like a caution is never far away, and indeed, just 33 minutes into this race, we have our first yellow flag period. And this gives these GTD Pro teams a chance to enter the pits for their first stops of the race. And indeed, we see a conga line of GTD Pros tucked up behind that pole-sitting number 14 Vassar-Sullivan Lexus. Now, while we saw some fantastic racing out on track, this is where the strategy really begins. The Corvette pulls into its pit box as we can see the team jump over the wall and begin to bolt on a set of fresh Michelin tires. We can see tires going on the Mustangs as well, as Katzberg patiently waits for the stop to be completed. Rexy is dropped and away, as is the one BMW, as the tires are still going on this Corvette. The Mustangs have made it out as well, as the Corvette finally pulls out into the fast lane, but has to hit the brakes to avoid hitting that 64, which was already in the fast lane. So as Katzberg exits the pits, he has dropped one position to their rivals in that number 64 Mustang. While we are behind this safety car, I think it's worth mentioning that this track has undergone some updates during this race weekend. That's because in earlier support races, the curbing was actually torn off the first apex of the inner loop. This happened on multiple occasions, and crews realized they couldn't simply replace the curbing, they had to actually reprofile it, and that has made the entry to this fast chicane even faster than before. So it's really interesting to watch how these drivers will adapt to that new curbing. But with the race ready to get back to green, the 65 car is up in 5th place, and Katzberg is back in 7th, having dropped behind that number 64 car. And as they make their way through this left-hander, the field begins to pull away, but then hits the brakes as the race has not gone green yet. It is a messy restart as the Mustangs are side by side. Finally, the race goes green as the 64 tries to get past the 65 on the inside, but the 65 carries huge speed and hangs onto the position as the 64 is now a sitting duck. Katzberg looks around the outside through the final corner. It is so difficult to overtake there. Olsen leaves just enough space for the Corvette driver though, as Katzberg tries to grab the side draft and claw his way up alongside of that 64 car. He does indeed, and they go side by side into turn 1. The Corvette driver able to just sneak past as Mies now hounds this number 14 Vassar-Sullivan Lexus, which was on pole. Up through the S's, that Lexus begins to slightly pull away and close in on the Rexy Porsche. Down this long straight, the Porsche is in the draft of the Ferrari just ahead and squeezes up the inside into the inner loop as they hit the brakes and hit each other into this fast reprofiled chicane. The Porsche driver up to 2nd place, with that Ferrari now being hounded by the 4th place Vassar-Sullivan Lexus. Just behind though, the 4 Corvette closes in on the battle out front, but behind this 4 Corvette, the number 911 Porsche now has Luke Hartog behind the wheel, and he looks around the outside of the 64 Mustang, an audacious move through the laces of the boot as he goes 2 wheels through the grass and up alongside that 64 car into the braking zone. They go side by side, but Hartog has the better run coming out of the corner and makes his way past the 64 and is just tucked up behind this number 4 Corvette. This young Porsche driver is making a statement on his first ever IMSA racing lap. And as this stint continues, Hartog is just behind this 4 Corvette and into the laces of the boot. He looks up the inside of Nicky Katzberg, trying to get in the mirrors of this veteran Corvette driver. Through the exit, once again carrying huge speed as he tucks up underneath the rear wing of this number 4. Katzberg is wide through the apex though, and Hartog seizes his opportunity as he goes up alongside the Corvette driver through the exit. Down this straightaway into the heel of the boot, we can't see it, but Hartog is all over the rear of this 4 Corvette as Katzberg carries good speed through the apex, not using quite as much exit curbing as that Ford out front. Katzberg does not take a defensive line to this left-hander, but we can see there is that flash of neon yellow and green. The Grello Porsche of Luke Hartog makes his way past the Corvette driver and continues his charge up through this GTD Pro field. Now, those of you not familiar with Luke Hartog, this is his IMSA debut, and he's doing it in none other than the Grello Manti Porsche. Back 2 years ago when I first met Luke Hartog, he told me it was his dream to race in IMSA, and I am so incredibly excited to see his dream coming true as he now hounds this number 65 Mustang who defends to the inside. Mies tries to hang on to the position, but Hartog looks around the outside through the toe of the boot. Another audacious move, but he gets the job done and continues now in 5th place, having passed both Mustangs and the number 4 Corvette as he closes in on the number 033 Triarci Ferrari in 4th place. Somebody pinch Luke Hartog, because surely this is his wildest dream coming true. We can just see how much speed he carries through the apex and exit. The rear of that Porsche looks like it's on the edge of stepping out as he absolutely manhandles it through the corners. And through the fast right-hander that leads onto the front straight, he is already putting that 033 Ferrari of Collado under pressure. As he tucks up underneath the rear wing, that Porsche closes in on the straightaway, and he pops to the inside, making his way past the 033 and up into 4th place now, as he passes 4 factory drivers and moves Grello up to 4th place in class. All the while, the 65 Mustang of Mies continues behind this Ferrari and Porsche, with the number 4 Corvette of Katzberg just behind as that Porsche GTP squeezes past through the S's. And down this long straightaway, we can see the speed differential between the classes as the Mustang tries to keep that JDC Porsche behind, but is unable to do so, and the Corvette closes in dramatically through the inner loop. The Corvette driver tries to make a run around the outside, but the Mustang has the preferred line. Katzberg has the overspeed though, as Mies defends to the inside. Katzberg looks around the outside of the Mustang driver through the laces of the boot, but is not able to complete the move. He is given just enough racing room though, and now has the leverage as they head into the right-hander. Mies falls in line behind Katzberg, who is now in 5th place in his number 4 Corvette, but gets a bad run coming off the corner. The Mustang driver has the advantage on the straightaway and closes in, but Katzberg defends the inside line as Mies backs out of it and continues just behind this number 4 Corvette. And just out front, we can see that 033 Ferrari still just behind the 911 Porsche, which has now caught the number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, and it's a 5-way battle for the race lead in GTD Pro. But as they make their way through the penultimate corner, we can look up at the clock and see that nearly an hour has passed since their last pit stops, and the 033 peels to the right-hand side and into pit lane as Katzberg continues behind Hartog in his Grello Porsche. And with this stint continuing, these top 5 have stayed out on track, and Hartog continues just behind the number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, as we can see a conga line for the race lead in GTD Pro. And through the outer loop, that Porsche driver is all over the Vassar Sullivan Lexus, which was the pole sitter. He looks to the outside and then to the inside through the laces of the boot and makes his way past up into 3rd place, but loses the rear of his Porsche and slams into the wall. He just lost control of the rear. I had said it looked lively throughout this stint, but it just gave out as he made his way up into 3rd place. What a heartbreaking way for this dreamlike debut to come to an end. But I know how passionate, determined, and of course, fast he is, so I am sure that we will see him again in the future. But with the safety car about to re-enter the track once again, we will jump ahead to the final hour and 15 minutes of this race. And with a lucky call on pit strategy and safety car timing, this number 4 car finds itself in 1st place in category, with none other than the number 9 Temerario just behind. The 65 car, though, is all the way back in 7th place behind the Rexy Porsche. So while Mies is focused on working his way up through the field, Katzberg has a clear view out in front of him as he slams the throttle to take the green flag once again with an hour and 12 minutes left in the race. And he has timed this restart to perfection as he closes in on the LMP2s just out front through the final corner. And while Katzberg has a clean run out front, it is all about to kick off just behind. We can jump aboard this number 1 Paul Miller BMW, which is back in 5th place as the Vassar Sullivan Lexus hounds the Mustang just out front. And that Mustang driver is just ahead of the pole sitter, who uses every inch of road on the exit as he tucks into the draft of that 64 car, which looks for a way past the Temerario coming up the hill. They are both bottled up behind that orange Lamborghini as they make their way into the inner loop. They all weave side to side as they try to find their way past each other. The Lexus driver makes a bold move around the outside through the first apex, nearly losing control, but gaining the position as he is now up to 3rd place. But the Mustang driver is not giving up as Olsen goes side by side with Hawksworth in the Lexus. Hawksworth somehow able to hang on as the BMW driver now tries to find his way past Olsen. Once again, they go side by side through the exit. The Mustang has the leverage into the tight right-hander and hangs on to the position through the braking zone. But Verhagen is not giving up and continues around the outside as he is squeezed off the road and into the dirt on the exit. Verhagen continues behind that number 64 car, but you can be sure this battling is not over as Hawksworth makes his way past the Temerario and up into second place with that 64 car now trying to find its way past the orange Lamborghini. He pokes his nose up the inside, but is not able to complete the move on the Temerario as he gets a better run coming out of the corner as well, but it's such a short straight into this fast left-hander. Olsen clips the apex curb as he tries to find his way past the Lamborghini. He pokes his nose up the inside through the final corner, and they make contact through the apex. The Mustang is passed, but so is the BMW. The Temerario just a sitting duck now as the 65 car blasts past as well into turn 1. They are nearly 3 wide as the Mustang squeezes past the BMW with Rexy trying to follow his way through, and the 65 car now powering past that number 77 as they go side by side through the S's. 6 GTD Pro cars all nose to tail and side by side as the Porsche now fights back on the 65 car, and the number 1 tucks into the draft of the 64 and looks around the outside into the inner loop. Verhagen has the run, but not the leverage as the Mustang has the inside line and retains 3rd position with the BMW now falling back into the clutches of the cars behind. And with this battle now raging just behind, the number 14 Vassar Sullivan Lexus has caught this number 4 Corvette. Hawksworth has been so fast all season long and is desperate to find his way back into the lead. Through turn 1, the Lexus is just behind that number 4 Corvette as they power their way up through the S's. The Corvette has the lead, but it's just a matter of time, it seems, before Hawksworth finds his way past. And through the sweeping right-hander, the Lexus has the run around the outside and makes its way up alongside and indeed past the Corvette, which just has the leverage, but not able to hang on to the position as Hawksworth now leads in GTD Pro. And with Katzberg now in second place, the team makes an aggressive strategic decision to pit with 58 minutes to go. They are the first of the leaders to make this call, and it's just a splash of fuel, and then Nicky Katzberg is sent back out on track. Now, they are in a strong strategic position because if a safety car were to be called in the next 5 or 10 minutes, they would cycle to the front of the GTD Pro field. To respond to this aggressive pit strategy, the number 65 Mustang stays to the right-hand side, and the number 1 BMW does as well as they make their way into the pits with 54 minutes remaining. And as they trundle down the pit lane, this intense battle is momentarily halted. As Mies pulls into his pit box, we can see fresh tires in the hands of the crew members, which bolt them on to just the left side of this car. But just out front, we can see there are no tires going on that BMW, which has already been sent out of its pit box. The Mustang's tire stop is completed, and the car is sent on his way, but he lost valuable seconds with that tire change. And out on track, the 4 Corvette closes in on the BMW, which is exiting the pits just there. But critically, the 1 car jumps ahead of the number 4, with the number 65 falling behind both of them with that call to change tires. But although they lost time in that pit sequence, now that we have just 10 minutes remaining in the race, the Mustang has the tire advantage and is closing in on the number 4 Corvette. They make their way through this fast chicane, and the Mustang takes a huge amount of apex curb on the entry and closes in dramatically on the Corvette, which is all over the road and kicking up dust through the apex. Katzberg is so much slower through this long left-hander as it seems this Mustang's newer tires are a huge advantage. The Mustang darts to the apex through the laces of the boot as the Corvette takes a wider line, trying to carry as much speed as possible through the exit. But just behind, Mies is stalking as he once again darts towards the apex with that Corvette driver taking the wide line through the corner. It seems that Katzberg is really struggling with tire wear, but is doing just enough to hang on to the position. Mies pokes into the mirrors of Katzberg as the number 62 Risi Ferrari, which leads the class, makes its way through the pit lane. So out on track, these two are not only racing each other, but racing that number 62 car. The Ferrari driver hits his marks as the crew jumps over the wall for that quick fuel fill as the 65 car continues to try to find a way past the number 4. Fueling is complete as the nozzle is released, and Mies continues just behind this Corvette driver as the GTPs work their way through this GTD Pro battle. The Ferrari is trundling down the pit lane as the Corvette and Ford power their way into turn 1. Katzberg slams the brakes as late as possible. If we look to the pit lane exit, we can see that there is that number 62, Ricci Ferrari, as they go side by side through the S's. The Corvette has the run on the corner exit though, as the Ferrari is not able to hang on. They go side by side through the left-hander as the GTP squeezes past as well, and the 62 is a sitting duck to this number 65, as Mies once again returns his focus to the number 4. And now, with just under 5 minutes remaining, the Corvette's tires continue to degrade, and Mies has a larger and larger advantage over Nicky Katzberg. Through the exit of the outer loop, Katzberg uses every inch of road and tries to maximize his speed, but that Mustang driver has so much more performance in his car as he looks up the inside through the apex. Katzberg once again using the high line like a NASCAR driver to maintain the momentum through the corner. Into the toe of the boot, and Katzberg hugs the apex as an LMP2 sweeps around the outside. The Corvette drifts wide, unable to put the power down on its aging tires as Mies once again closes the gap through the apex. Nicky Katzberg tucks to the right-hand side as Mies pops to the outside and brakes as late as he possibly can. But through this tight right-hander, the Corvette holds the position as Mies switches on him, goes around the outside. They go side by side through the exit, nearly making contact as the Corvette hangs onto the position. Mies just about able to make his way past, but Katzberg doing just enough to stay ahead as he once again defends through this fast left-hander. The Mustang driver looks around the outside, but there is nowhere to go through that left sweeper as the Corvette stays ahead through the final corner. And once again through the uphill S's, Mies has a huge run and tucks into Nicky Katzberg's draft. Katzberg just needs to hang on for another 3 minutes to retain this 5th place finishing position. But Mies is certainly not going to make it easy on this Corvette driver as they dodge and weave their way into the inner loop. They take so much curb through both of these apexes, and Mies is absolutely desperate to find his way past, but there's just no room through this fast, long-duration right-hander. Katzberg just builds enough of a gap to stay ahead through the laces of the boot, but once again is a few feet wide of the apex as Mies just clips that curb on the left-hand side, and Katzberg kicks up dirt on the exit. And this is what IMSA is all about. Corvette versus Mustang, battling wheel to wheel. Through the exit, Katzberg once again struggles as his car just understeers. Mies has a huge run, but Katzberg defends the inside line. Mies pops to the outside and brakes as late as he possibly can, but Katzberg has the leverage as Mies tries to hang tough, but just runs out of road on the exit as Katzberg once again stays ahead through the heel of the boot. Mies pokes his nose up the inside, but there's just no room to that tight left-hander as once again Mies finds himself staring at the rear of this number 4 Corvette. Through that left-hander, we can see the rear of that Corvette just sliding around on the exit as Katzberg has milked those tires for everything they're worth. Now, with less than a minute remaining, it is do or die for Chris Mies in this Mustang. He has to find a way past this Corvette as he closes in through the apex. Katzberg's tires continuing to degrade, but he is still doing just enough to stay ahead. Katzberg holds a tight line through the apex as Mies sets up for a better launch coming out of the corner. Katzberg once again understeers wide, but hugs the inside line into the heel of the boot. Mies tries to find a way past, but is unable to do so. He looks around the outside, braking as late as possible. Katzberg slides wide, and the Mustang gets a nose ahead, but they make contact once and then twice as the Mustang is sent spinning. A massive, massive crash for the number 65 Mustang as the nose of that Corvette hooked the rear of the Mustang, sending it directly into the wall. Fortunately, Mies able to walk away with no injuries, but that obviously could have been so much worse. And before you write anything down in the comments, I just want to say that Katzberg and Mies talked after the race and said they are on good terms now with each other. So please, no one is allowed to be more upset than Chris Mies. Anyways, with the Mustang in the wall, this number 4 Corvette crossed the line in 5th place, but was handed a 30-second post-race time penalty due to that contact, which dropped them down to 8th position in class. Meanwhile, their closest championship rivals, number 1 BMW, held on to 2nd place. So as they leave Watkins Glen, the number 4 and 65 fall to 3rd and 4th in championship standings, with number 3 in 2nd place, and that number 1 BMW taking over the top spot. Anyways, if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for watching and so much for supporting. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys. Your likes, comments, and love mean so much to me. I really, really appreciate it. I want to give a special shout out to my channel members. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video.